EnglishTim here. Today we are looking at how to protect your resources. So there are a lot of different ways of doing this, but the best way, unquestionably, is to use a shield. So if you go to your items and store, you can see that you can get an 8-hour shield, or if you want to shield permanently, which is the safest approach, you need to use lots of 24-hour shields, 7 a week, so 7,000 gold a week. Now that is fine if you've spent a lot of money on the game, or if you're one of the larger players. However, for smaller players it's not really realistic to shield permanently. So instead of doing that, you can try and keep your resources within the limits of your storehouse. So if you click on info, you can see here the total amount that you can store, and you can also see a comparison by clicking on the resource bar at the top of how much storage you have currently and how much you are using of that storage. So if you can't stay within those limits, you might want to extend those limits, and there's lots of ways of doing that. I will do a separate video on how to expand the storage in your storehouse. Otherwise you need to use a different approach. So you can put on anti-scout. So if you use items, and if you go to the store again, you can see here you can do 6-hour anti-scouts, 12-hour anti-scouts, and you can get them elsewhere. However, they're quite risky, especially if you're a smaller player. A bigger player will wonder why you've turned off the ability to scout, and they will just hit you anyway, assuming you've got something to hide. So I wouldn't recommend that. You can use your alliance storehouse. So if your alliance has got to a high enough level, then they can build a storehouse where you can store a certain amount per day and a total amount overall. Now it takes a while to fill it, but it's perfectly safe. All stuff stored in the storehouse is safe, even if the storehouse is destroyed, and if you leave the alliance, then you get all of your stuff back immediately. You can also give your stuff to other players, your resources to other players in your alliance, and ask for it back. They would have to you'd have to pay the fees for transferring it back and forth, so you'd need to pay them twice. So if you send resources, you can see here there's a trade fee, and that will be a cost to transfer it, and you'll have to pay that both directions. Or you can get the other player to attack you and then attack them back afterwards if you each leave the alliance. A bit more complicated, you might not be able to organize that. Finally, a little note about food. If you do allow your food to go above the storage limit in your storehouse, your troops will start to eat it. So that will reduce the amount of food that you have. So those are the different ways of protecting your resources. I'll do my separate video on how to increase the amount of space in your storehouse. And yeah, I look forward to you joining me on my next video. If you enjoy my content, please click that subscribe button.